Qualaputa Ishid, Qualaputa Ishid, Salalakam Sista, Stahopchad, Medasawaklam. All you people are relatives. My name is Fighting Woman, and I'm the daughter of the Sea Monster Man. And I've been invited tonight to tell Salish scary stories to you all. A tooty-too hawk, a tooty-too hawk. A long time ago, when the world was new, there was Basket Ogress. And she was a giant. And she had big balls of snot under her nose. And she breathed like this. And she had giant fat balls of dirt and grime under her arms, and they swung when she walked. And she sang a song, and it said, I'm gonna eat the little ones, I'm gonna eat the little ones. And she had talons for hands, because that's how she ripped through the children and grabbed them up and throw them in her basket behind her. And the basket was made of snakes. Gardener snakes. We're in Washington, guys. Western Washington. And the blood would drip down to her elbows and onto her toes, and all that grime and toe jam was stuck right there, like concrete between her toes. And one day, she decided that she didn't want to eat the little ones anymore. That she would go speak to her kaya. And so she did. And she picked up her canoe. She is that big. And she carried it. She used to live there below Tahoma. And she would come down the rivers and streams in the canoe to move faster. But you know, our people were always in longhouses near the rivers. And so when she could smell the children, she would sing to herself, I'm gonna go see Kaya, and try to not go there, to not eat them. And so she would sing that and move and port her canoe to the next river or stream until she got all the way up by the Nooksack River where her grandmother lived. And when she finally got there, she seen the little hut outside, and she opened it and looked to see if her grandmother was inside, and she wasn't. But she crawled in and began to dry her bloody hands over that fire that took care of drying all the herbs that her grandmother would pick, all the wild medicine. And she sat there for a long time waiting. And pretty soon, her grandmother returned with an armful and a basket full of more medicine that she'd gathered. But the closer she got to her sweet-smelling hut, it smelled rank, like a dead body. And she thought, what is that? What is that? What is that? And you know, our grandmas, they're fierce. Our kayas are fierce. And so she wasn't afraid to open it up and look inside. And she lifted back the wall of cattail mat, and she looked inside, and the Basket Ogress went, Kaya! And the woman said, oh, who are you? And she said, Kaya! And that grandma, she looked in the eyes of that ogress. She said, granddaughter, is that you? What have you become? And she grabbed her giant mitt. She drug her granddaughter on her knees out the hut. And she took her over to the Nooksack River. And she began to cry and to pray, and to cry and to pray. And the hair on the basket ogress that was matted down and stuck with gut became clean and shined. And she cried and she prayed some more. And as she did that, the big ball of snot that was stuck in the basket ogress's nose fell out and into the nook sack and became the little silver salmon. And the more she cried and the more she prayed, the tears went down and cleaned the body of the ogress, and she began to turn into a human. And she cried and she cried, and all that duck and look that was left, that had fallen to her feet, became mosquitoes as they hit the water of the Nooksack River. Bloodsuckers still in it. Basket ogress baby. And together they took each other's hands and they cried over that basket of snakes that would grab the children's arms every time they tried to get away and get out and pull them back in. And they cried and they cried. For about that long. And when they did, the basket began to turn back into cedar bark and became full with medicine. This way and this way. Short story. We have another really short basket ogre story I can share before you go up. A 2D2 hawk. A 2D2 hawk a long time ago. A long time ago when the world was new, there was Slapu. She was one of 4 basket ogress sisters. And she was waiting. Basket ogress is the death of the future. The death of children. She has become in these days everything that is death to the people. She is pollution, addiction, everything that was ugly that brought death. Basket ogress like to try to lure children away from their parents with berries. And she would wait outside where children would loll away and wander from their parents. Disobedient children. Ooh, she liked them the best. Ooh, the taste of disobedience when she ate them. Nasty, isn't it? But one little girl was a defiant little girl, and she wanted to stay out just a little longer. But Basket Ogress had already spotted her. She was a smart girl, and so she kept trying to run away from her and hide. But Basket Ogress, she could smell her through all the snot. And she ran and ran and ran. And she started running downhill because Basket Ogress would trip as she fell because she was so big. And so she would fall and give this little girl a little chance. And so she ran all the way down the hill and down the dunes to the sand, to the beach. And there was an old man at the beach pulling up his crab nets, his crab pots, and putting them in his canoe and wrapping them up. And she said to him, help me, Basket Ogress is going to eat me, help me. And he said, oh, okay. And so he let the crabs go. He let them go. And he told her, go get out in the canoe and go out to that little island there and hide over there. And so she paddled out as fast as she could, but she knew Basket Ogress was coming because she could hear her heavy footsteps on the beach running. And she got out to the island and she hid because the bushes said, hide with us, we'll cover you, hide with us. And so she crawled behind the bushes and she had put the canoe on the other side of the island where Basket Ogress couldn't see it. And the man was sitting out there, and he was wrapping up his net, and Basket Ogress hovered over the top of him and said, "Tell me where that child is, or I'll eat you." And he laughed at her. He wasn't afraid of her. He said, "Oh, you only eat children. You can't eat me. I'm not afraid of you, Slapoon. I'm not afraid." And she said, "Tell me where that little girl went." And he said, "I didn't see a little girl." And she said, "Tell me." But she was smelling the wind, and she realized that little girl must have been out there, out on that little island, hiding. And there was only one place to hide there. And so she began to walk out to the island. But as she walked, the old man called the crabs, and they grabbed Basket Ogress by her toes, and they pulled her down, down, down to the bottom of the Salish Sea. So if you're ever out in a boat or a canoe and you see bubbles coming up out of the water, Basket Ogress is underneath you. This way. That's all right.
Alright, Lusitania, I hope you're ready. I wanted to point out that tonight, as we enter here, some spirits, you might hear them right now, may still be haunting this land. This here is Sam. And he's going to tell us a little bit more about the steam plant.
Welcome to the Georgetown Steam Plant. Built in 1906 to power a burgeoning city's streetcar system, the original light rail. It is a National Historic Landmark. Please treat it as such. These are the last existing versions of the Curtis vertical steam turbine in existence in the world that you will be passing by. They are exciting, just so you know. Well, when you travel through the steam plant, please stay within the blue lines if you want to get out alive. Of course, if you should happen to get hurt, we do have the Duwamish River Insurance Company. We throw you in the river. If you sink, obviously you are hurt. If you float, obviously you're a witch, so we set you on fire. All children should be accompanied by minors when passing through the plant and should scream at their leisure. Take note, look in the nooks, look in the crannies, and enjoy your tour.
motorcycles, first horse races, and the first airplane. First airplane races took place here, and it was a spectacle.
But it was 1912.
What?
It was 1912. You know, my colleague ruined it for the rest of us. Took his tripod and went right out there in front of the plane. Had tripod kind of like this.
And you're a member of the press? How do you know this?
I was there. I was reporting on it.
1912.
I got my notes right here.
Okay,
Back there in
please tell the
1912.
story.
Yeah, I got my notes right here, so I wouldn't miss a thing. I got to get this to press, so I can't take much of your time here. But it was Turbine and Homley. They were famous for their aerial acts. They would do aerial shows across the country. They were down here in Georgetown for one such show. Then Turbine took the plane and he parked it about 200 yards east of the spectators. And the intention was that the plane would take off right up over the audience, you see. Yeah, but my full colleague, he jumped out there with his tripod, the little tent over the top, kind of like this guy right here with his tent over the top. And Turbine barely saw him off the hat of that journalist. Yeah, that photographer lost his hat that night.
Just his hat?
Yeah, my hat's getting wet. Yeah, but that wasn't the worst thing of it. Yeah. So where's that plane to go? It took a sharp left and went right into the stands. Now these planes were those little planes like they learned how to fly with the right motors. They did learn how to fly with the right motors. Good, specially designed planes with propeller on the front, not on the back. What happens when the propeller comes at you? Super pieces. Yeah, that one guy lost half his face. Died instantly. That poor little boy that was in the stands with his father, he's just there to see the air show.
Oh man, like modern day monster trucks.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, monster truck. Monster.
Yeah, just keep going.
Okay. Well, 16 other people had to be taken right over there to the King County Hospital. Turbine was pulled out of the plane. He lived, but he had some grave injuries. Yeah. Some people just had some minor scrapes and bruises, and they just wandered off home. But some people stayed. They weren't done with the show. And I went down on the field with my tripod, and I wanted to get some photos of what actually happened, because we got to document events. Don't you agree, sir? Sure. Yeah, always document events. And these people were out there, and first I saw someone's nose in the bloody grass.
Oh.
Then someone's finger. Yeah, that wasn't the worst of it. The crowd came on the runway and started leaving the wreckage for souvenirs. Yeah. Oh, the security guards got out there, got everybody back in the stands, and not to be deterred because the Meadows always likes to make a buck, right? Yeah, they started the show back up. Harmley took the plane up. Up. He was known for death-dip dives. A death-dip dive. He'd take that plane up as far as he'd go, turn it back down, and come straight back down. Yeah, he landed. A little bumpy landing. What do you got there? But it was about a month later in Yakima. He was doing the same show. He didn't survive. When Turbine found out about that, people died. That plane crash. He wished that he had died that day. Ironically, Wilbur Wright, one of his mentors, he died that day. Typhoid got him. Yeah. But yeah, it's a sad day. Yeah, I gotta get some scoop on some of these other stories.
Okay.
I'm gonna run off into Georgetown and see what I can find.
Well, thank you so much.
I think those people looted my camera too. So yeah.
Previously, this property was a gas station. It was also a florist and a dry cleaner. It may have been a rental house, and eventually it sat derelict due to non-conforming uses after this side of the street was rezoned. It then sat unused for over a decade due to underground pollution from leaking fuel tanks. So the Petrovich family operated a gas station on this site from 1926 to 1975. During the war, Boeing leased the property to store jet fuel away from the airport at the same time as they camouflaged Plant Number 2. In 2008, the artist collaborative group Sutton Barris Color, or SBC, signed a lease with the intent to repurpose it into a pocket park and arts-oriented community center. In 2014, they actually formed a nonprofit organization which they called Mini Mart City Park to acquire ownership and develop this site. Starting in 2015, MMCP began initial cleanup and construction, which began in 2008. Cleanup is an innovative cleanup method of removing the toxins from the polluted soil below the site using an air sparging and soil vapor extraction system. You guys try to say that. Air sparging and soil vapor extraction system. The system pumps air through numerous air sparge points down to 20 feet below the surface and activates the dormant bacteria in the soil by bringing oxygen and moisture from the water table. Bacteria breaks down the residual petroleum and the hydrocarbons. It creates other volatilized gases like methane, which is removed from the soil via a perforated grid of vapor extraction tubing below a vapor barrier, and it's pulled back into the building and further treated. It's expected to take 3 to 5 years to clean the petroleum contamination from the site's former use, and the system will then continue to improve, passing groundwater, and improve surrounding soil conditions. If you want to learn more, that was a lot, you can visit www.minimartcitypark.com. We like to say this site is back from the dead, as it will be used as a community gathering space and a place for the arts, education, environmental action, and community collaboration in the Duwamish Valley. It will provide a publicly accessible venue for a variety of indoor and outdoor community activities, with spaces for a gallery, performance, cultural events, education, and community meetings.
So here we are, the former location of the Georgetown Undertaking Company, serving the funerary needs of the community from 1907 to 1985. It was less than 200 yards from the Georgetown County Hospital, which is right down that way. And as in the case in the 2020, we also had the flu and tuberculosis in the early 1900s, took many lives in the Duwamish Valley, and this building would have been a place for family and friends to gather and pay their last respects. It was originally constructed in 1900, but it had been re-renovated a couple times after 1916. Now the parking lot directly to your left is where the distinctive home of the owner and the funeral director of Mr. Howden was located for many years. But the house was actually picked up and moved, and is now at 6929 Carleton Avenue South, down that road right there. Dr. Corson of King County Hospital and Mr. Noyce, the mortician, were the grand nobles of the Independent Order of the Oddfellows Comet Lodge, that was where we just were. And in 1912, Dr. Corson and his wife, Eva, bought the Comet Lodge Cemetery property for $10 for Mr. Noyce, the undertaker. And he was a dear friend of them because they were all members of the Comet Lodge. Dr. Corson and Eva benefited greatly from selling the deeds of trust to those burial areas, in which by the 1920s they had over 200 graves. Parts of the original cemetery were then sold and rezoned. It was divided in two, and there were homes built on the back end of that cemetery. There's actually more to that. So the back end of the cemetery used to be where they buried all the infants that died, under the age of 1. A lot of missing gravestones, over the time, and they ended up, the city just sold that to developers. So it was kind of too bad. So we're going to go ahead and go in and have a seat and listen to Mr. Noyce.
Cough there, H.
Yeah, I don't know.
You think you might have a little touch of consumption?
I don't think so. It might have been something, I think it might have been bad with you.
You got a fever?
No, look.
Stop by the office tomorrow, would you?
Yeah, I'll do that. I hope we don't have what do you call it again that was going around?
Pandemic.
Pandemic. I sure hope we don't have that for at least 100 years.
Oh, I don't think we will.
Okay. But anyway, we're not here to talk about it.
Let's talk a little business, okay?
I think it's time for that.
Okay, well, now let us each have glass in hand.
Have glass in hand. And I raise my cup to you.
And I raise my cup to you. You have your heart in hand.
Do I? Yes, I do. For
with
humble pride
are
we
odd
fellows.
Sowing friendship, love, and trade. Okay, so
I sure like this
right
here beer that comes from that brew house up there. It's so nice to live this close to a brewery, don't you think?
It is, and what's with all the new ones? They got the ales and the pails and the,
I still like the basic Rainier from them, though.
I like that one with the mountain on it.
But we're not here to talk about it.
Okay, so Joe Angelo stopped by. He brought by money for plot 139.
139.
Are you going to swing by the hall when you're done here?
Yeah.
Can you stick it in the safe?
I'll make sure I do that. It's so nice when they pay early.
Well, late can be a problem.
It's a problem. It's bad for the cash flow. Yeah, you bet.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about, there's land up there at the cemetery that isn't really getting used. We basically have a cemetery, land, and then there's houses up there beyond that, right?
Well, let me make sure you get this on the top board here. So we got this here.
Okay, so you got the top
road,
right? And then there's the infant memorial is just beyond that,
yeah,
and there's various flowers placed
right there in Babyland.
In what people are calling Babyland, and basically that section when the infant mortality rate was really high, we put that whole we allowed for growth. It's a huge section. There's way more land then there
So what's your
are
plan?
babies.
What's your
I think
plan?
we can sell some of that land and make a little money.
But it's baby land.
Would you quit saying baby land?
Baby land. It's baby land.
Well,
I mean,
hold on.
look, right up there.
Hold on a second.
The whole town's been calling this baby land for a long time.
Okay, but let me just get let's just get something straight. Okay, there's the memorial, and there's babies buried. But there's also a lot of land up there that does not have babies in it. Okay, there's a big stretch of that land. Let me put it this way.
So-
If the house line moved down a little ways,
So you're saying if the houses are here,
yeah.
right,
I'm not
that
saying
area,
coming all the way down to the road. I'm just saying coming
how many
down.
lots are you talking about?
Honestly, I think we could sell it 8, 9, 10, 11
What are we going to do?
lots.
Are we going to?
People can build houses there.
It's still baby land. Are you
Would
planning
you
on
quit saying
moving
baby land?
the babies, or building a house on top?
Of course, we would never do something inappropriate.
No, we shouldn't. We're odd fellows. And
No, I think
higher
that people
moral
need to
standards.
understand that they're a little unclear about what's going on up there, and we would never do anything inappropriate. We're selling good land, beautiful land, so that people can buy a nice piece of property.
I don't know.
up on the hill.
I'm not sure. Let me think about this. Just let me think about it. Let me think.
I think there's some money to be made there. Look, okay, let's
You know what? You're giving me a headache. You're giving me a headache. Need to take a break.
Okay, let's play a little guitar. I got a new little thing.
Okay.
What do you think, though, huh?
Nice, relaxing.
Okay, we're gonna run this. Baby land, don't talk about baby land, baby land. Think about the money. What do you think, huh? Come on, do it with me. Baby land, don't talk about baby land, baby land. Think about the money. Not bad, huh? Baby land. Don't talk about baby land, Just think about the money. Check it out. Just think about the opportunity.
The opportunity. Like that.
For you and me.
Me and you.
We could make ourselves some sweet money.
Oh, sweet money.
Up on the hill. Baby land. Don't talk about baby land. Do that verse again. Think about the opportunity.
Yeah, okay.
Think about the opportunity for you and me. Or we can make ourselves some sweet money. I like that. On baby land.
Let's do that again.
We can make ourselves some sweet money. On baby land.
One more time.
We can make ourselves some sweet money. On baby land. One more.
Now.
We can make ourselves some sweet money. On baby land. I think we need to get a little bit of help in that hole. We get a little hand here from you folks. It's just simply baby land. And say, don't talk about baby land. Just think about the money. You ready? Baby land. Don't talk about baby land. Just think about the money. Baby land. Don't talk about baby land. Can I get a little help? Baby land. Think about the money.
Where am I in my guide?
We're on number 3.
Page 12. if you're following along in your hymnals. So the former maltster at the Seattle Brewing and Malting Company, Berthold Buell, and his wife Emily converted their home, built in 1905, into a mom and pop grocery store right here. And in 1916, it was here to serve the community. The space is now the Whippersnapper Gallery and was previously the Friends of Georgetown History Museum. I'm handing it off to you.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. It's nice to see you.
Good to see you. So I'm going to talk about the disembodied voices in this neighborhood. Now, if you are familiar with Georgetown, you probably hear lots of stuff with the airplanes going on and so forth. But people would say a lot in this neighborhood that they would hear just strange disembodied voices singing, you know, Ghost Riders in the Night, Blue Moon, that kind of thing over and over again. And it was probably some drunk out on the street and so forth, but they could never find anybody who was actually on their way home or just stalled in the ditch or something like that. So that was their main story, but they would just hear them all over this neighborhood. So I'm also going to introduce you to myself, one of the tragic divas of Georgetown. Opened up the first gay bar here in Georgetown just a few years ago, and then only to be closed due to COVID in 2020. So I did a little tribute video, and we have found a new home at Jules Mays, which is also Seattle's oldest rock bar, and we're going to hand out flyers for our after party afterwards. But I've made a little tribute video to Georgetown, my favorite place to hang out and have fun. So here we go.
Each time I see a crowd of people, just like a fool I stop and stare. I know it's not the proper thing to do, but maybe you'll be there. I go out walking after midnight, along a lonely thoroughfare. It's not the time nor place to look for you. I'm hoping you'll be there. You said your arms would always hold me. You said your lips were mine alone to kiss. Now after all those things you told me, how can it end like this? Someday when all my prayers are answered, I'll hear your footstep on my stair. With anxious heart I'll hurry to the door, and maybe you'll be there. Yes, and maybe you'll be there.
One of Georgetown's more widely known haunted locations is this fine Victorian home. It was built for the Gessner family in 1902. The castle, as we call it, is listed on the National Registry of Most Haunted Places. It's been featured on a few ghost hunter shows, a home that was occupied by a local baseball team, the Nonpareils. It was also a rooming house, a private residence, and it's even rumored to have been a gambling house and a brothel. A notorious haunting of this house is that of Sarah Gessner, wife of Peter Gessner's son, George Gessner. Local folklore suggests she had a baby by another man, and the baby mysteriously died and was buried under the porch. Sarah, who was locked up in the third-story tower, went crazy with anguish and remorse. They say sometimes you can see Sarah in the window up there, the nursery, crying for her lost baby.
Hush now. What are y'all doing here? Don't you know this is private property? All this commotion you're going to be making up to Sarah. She's just sitting up there in that tower room. People say she hasn't been the same since her baby died. Just spends her waking hours crying on those steps right over there. And that no-good husband of hers, Mr. George Gessner, he ain't got no heart. Talk is, he treats her mean because he don't believe that baby's his flesh and blood. He's mean as a snake, just like his mama. You think he'd be more kindly toward his own since his daddy, Mr. Peter, killed himself? Just right in the back bedroom right there. People say he drank acid after he found out his no-good wife, Miss Lizzie, was catting around with his farm manager, Mr. Edward Ward. That woman, she's all high and mighty. She doesn't think anyone knows her business, but everyone talks. Yes, everyone talks. Some people would say Mr. Peter died of a broken heart, but if you ask me, there's more to that story than people knows, and, well, don't say I told you so. People say, oh, Ruby, you work at the Gessner Mansion, the grandest house in all of Georgetown, but even the town baseball team used it as their clubhouse. I don't think Mr. Peter got what he paid for, though, them floorboards creaking when everyone's asleep, and windows are just always got chill, and the faucet turning on and off and all throughout the hours of the night. And I always get a cold when I'm down at the bottom of the steps. I just wrap my shawl around me and I run up to the stairs as fast as I can. You know, if I wasn't a God-fearing woman, I'd say someone was watching me. But I ain't no scaredy cat, no. I've only been here about a month, and with Miss Sarah's problems and all them strange things going on, I'll be looking to move on soon. So if any of you fine folk need a good housemaid, you know where to find me. My name's Ruby Wolf. Ruby! Oh, now look what you've done. I'm coming, Miss Sarah. Now, get on out of here and mind the flowers on your way out.
Now, we did do some research and found out that this story is not completely true. There was a Sarah Gessner, but she reportedly never lived in this house. She and her family lived in a house directly across the alley from this one. However, get this, when the residence was being renovated in the 1950s, the skeleton of a baby was uncovered under the front stairs. So maybe the story has some truth to it after all.
It was a wasted land. As a potter's field, it does nobody any good. Viewed from the strictly utilitarian point of view, those 4 acres of King County land are worth money. It's all very well to be sentimental when sentiment costs nothing, but land is land and factory sites are factory sites. So Noyce the Undertaker has the contract to disturb the rest of the 3,000 sleepers there for $3 per soul.
You worked hard your whole life. You even raised a family that loved you. Then you lost it all to a con man. $3.
What does it matter anyway? They'd failed. They were the county's poor. In life they had no rest. They should be used to troubled slumbers by now. In life they had no ease or leisure. The landlord drove them out when they could not pay the rent. The grocer refused them credit when the job was gone. The judge gave them until sunset to get out of town. There may have been potential good in them, even potential greatness, but life played the game with them unfairly. They never had a chance. In the towns, the same odd, cold welcome waited. Society had made their poverty a crime. A whole coat is a badge of smug respectability. The policeman on the beat saw the rags, evidence of his crime of vagrancy, and so all the nameless, homeless army of vagrants went their way, hungry, cold, diseased, unclean, unloved, and died in dark corners unmourned. In 20 years, 3,000 paupers have died in King County and have been buried in the Potter's Field, a tract of now valuable land owned by the county in Georgetown. All their lives they'd been burdens on respectable communities, and now that they were dead, they were burdens still. They must be burned and gotten out of the way.
You froze to death in front of a church. $3.
No prayers were said, no mourners followed them to the grave. They went quickly, stealthily to the potter's field in the night. The diggers dug, howling because the dirt was hard, the hours long. Pine boxes scraped and bumped, lots of earth rattled down upon them. The diggers lit their pipes and strolled away. They slept, but not for long. Now come other diggers, working for wages, and Noisy the Undertaker gets $3 per body from the county commissioners.
Who cares where you used to be? Now you're worth $3.
It's high time something was done. There was scarcely room left for another grave. No one could tell one grave from another. No one cared. Yes, high time. They failed and died. The world is for the living. Living men speak hopefully of the day when the new and improved Duwamish shall be opened. The traffic of the high seas shall follow a new and irresistible current to these western shores. That'll be a great day for Seattle. The population will double and triple. Fleets of ships will come to us from the 7 seas. Smoke will pour from 1,000 factory chimneys. We'll need all the room we can get then, and land will go up in value. The Potter's Field will make excellent factory sites. Urns cost little, and access take up little room. So what does it matter if the sleep of the failures is disturbed? It'll all be the same 100 years from now. Prince or pauper, it'll all be the same.
$3.
This is the story of my night. It's all the story of a murderous night. All my night with my new love I dare. All the two boys we have prepared. Out for a drink at the local saloon. Wandering about, bathed in the moon. He hid in the trees with a gun. The jealous fool, what have you done? My lover took to the street. He left me to die. Oppressed by the one who shot out my eyes. Can't see. I can't breathe. Lover, lover, are you there? Lover, lover, are you there?
This green two-story frame structure, dating from 1904, originally served as a roadhouse. Roadhouses, which were once scattered throughout Georgetown, provided a destination or stopover near the county road between Seattle and South Park. Roadhouses were popular places for those revelers coming into town for the races or a bit of fun. A saloon up front, a card room in the back, and a few rooms upstairs for adult entertainment.
Ooh.
This was the place for 24-hour adventures. At one time there were 6 roadhouses on this street, 3 on this very corner. A raid of one of the bawdy houses has a favorite quote from the Seattle Daily Times, 1909. She wore nothing but the shadow of an incandescent bulb. It is believed that this building is the sole surviving roadhouse from this period. By 1911, the building was converted into a grocery store operated by Peter and Mary Casteran. Strange sounds can still be heard to this day by the residents of the upstairs apartments. Doors slam shut, voices whisper, and laughter can occasionally be heard in the former saloon, now a fantastic neighborhood cake shop.
Tonight, we'll learn more about 2 sisters on an adventure visiting the Alaska-Yukon Expo.
I can't wait to go to the park. No, we're going to Georgetown. What's in Georgetown for sale? Booze and boys?
These ladies came to Seattle from Vancouver, BC to attend the Alaskan Yukon Expo. After attending the show at a local downtown theater, they hired a car along with the driver to take them to Luna Park, the old amusement park that was over in West Seattle. We have learned tonight Georgetown has several saloons and dance pavilions that could be fun 24/7. Let's find out what happened to them after they left Georgetown.
I had 2 glasses of beer. I'm sure those glasses are clean. Oh, I can't wait to see his face, After all, that's why we're in town. No, that's the wrong little stairs. You get it wrong. Wait, driver! You're going too fast!
So on an old trestle bridge that crossed the tide flats, they met with their grisly fate. The sharp turn was guarded only by a flimsy wooden railing, and a vehicle was traveling way too fast, and, well, you know what happened. This section of the bridge that was the site of many accidents through the years, in fact, became known to local lore as the Dead Man's Curve. One of the ladies never found was presumably washed out into Puget Sound. Perhaps her spirit is still haunting the area, and she's looking for her lost sister.
Or one more glass of beer!
When you're ready. All right, here we go. Snacks?